Today we're going to be taking a look at the deconstructor. Now I didn't want to show you the deconstructor at the same time as the constructor because a lot of people have trouble with the constructor. So I wanted to give you guys enough time to see many examples of us using the constructor in this series. I think we've seen it about 5 or 6 times before I actually introduce the deconstructor. Now if the constructor would appear, or the text that's inside of the constructor's function body would appear when we create an object, it's only logical to assume that the deconstructor will appear when we destroy the object. After a program is finished running, we don't want the objects just floating around and wasting memory. We want to go ahead and destroy them, and that's when we're going to be able to execute the code inside of the deconstructor's function body. So we're going to see exactly how we do this today. We're going to do one full run through this entire process. I think we'll be able to put all of this to bed, and you guys should be able to understand what the constructor and deconstructor do after this video. So we're going to go ahead and include our header file, because you see on the left hand side I've already created a lemming CPP file and lemming header file. So we're going to include the lemming header file in the main by putting lemming.h in quotation marks. We can go ahead and copy these preprocessor commands and namespace definition and put it in every CPP file we have. In this case we only have one more, which is lemming.cpp, and then we can head into our lemming header file and we can go ahead and create our class. You'll write the word class, you'll write the name of the class, which you already know is going to be lemming, and then we'll put our body by putting the curly braces. And remember, at the end of your class, you're going to want to put a semicolon. Just one little thing to watch out for. Don't forget that. So in our class, we can write public, we can write protected, and we can write private, and now we are all set up and we can begin making some functions. So inside of lemming.cpp, the first function we're going to create is the constructor, as we've seen before. So we're going to write lemming with the 2 colons, and we're going to do that with every function inside of our lemming.cpp, which will indicate that it is a function belonging to the lemming class. Now the constructor does not have a data type, so you do not include void or integer. You will also name it after the class. So if we're inside the lemming class, we'll be using the lemming function as our constructor. Now whatever we put inside of this body over here will display whenever we create an object to access stuff inside of the class. So we can put a welcome message. We can say, welcome, you just created an object. Let's try to spell it right. There we go. So whenever we create an object, it will say, welcome, you just created an object. That's great. Let's go ahead and make a function just to give a little bit of separation here. I'll call this the turtle function as I made last video, and it's just going to simply give a little line of text, which is going to say, this is the program. Are you impressed yet? End line. So just a little bit, oops, it didn't even end the quotation mark, so it's not going to end line. There we go. End line right there. So this is just another function we're going to have. Now we have 2 errors over here because we have not prototyped them inside of our header. It means we have not written the function headers in the header. Simple enough. So go ahead and do that. We're going to write everything that is not in the body. So we have the lemming function with no data type, and then we write the data type of our turtle function right over here. If we had parameters, we would put them inside of the brackets. But we do not. So those errors disappear, and now we are going to look at the deconstructor. So if we see that the constructor is named after the class and it doesn't have a data type, it's logical to somewhat assume that the deconstructor will follow some of those rules, right? So we will. So we're going to go ahead and write lemming with the 2 colons right there, just like we did before and with every function. And now we're going to put a tilde, which is that little Spanish squiggle that appears above the N in Spanish. And then you're going to write lemming function. Simple enough. You're going to follow the exact same format, except you're going to be putting the tilde in front of it, and then you can have the body. And now you can put a message that will appear when you are destroying your objects. Now you can say, goodbye, you are destroying the objects. You are cruel. End line. So this will appear when we start destroying those objects, and like everything else, we need to go and prototype this. So we'll simply go in here and we will write tilde lemming function, just like that. That'll be a deconstructor. Put a note here. Whoops. I didn't want that to happen. I'll put constructor and I'll put deconstructor. Just like that. And then this other void turtle is just going to be another function. You'll see why I'm doing this in a moment. I don't want to just use an object and then not actually try to access something. So we can go over everything one more time. We have all of our functions in here, including the deconstructor, the constructor, and some function that we're going to try to access. And then we have our header file where we prototyped the headers of the functions by writing them up here. Now we can head into the main.cpp and we can go ahead and create an object. Now we create an object by writing the name of the class. So the class is called lemming. I will create an object just by writing any word after it. So I'll call it the lemming object. Simple enough. Now just by doing this, we have created an object. And if I go ahead and build and run this, you'll see that we're going to go ahead and we're going to get our messages here. We're going to get both of the messages we wanted. Welcome, you just created an object, and then it says, okay, that's great, we created an object. We don't do anything with it, and then the program ends. So it says, goodbye, you are destroying the objects, you are cruel. You are pretty cool for doing that. Now, if we wanted to go ahead and access the function that we made just to see exactly what the purpose of all this was, you'll write lemming object, you'll put a dot separator because you're using an object and not a pointer to access the class, and then you write the function you want to access, in this case the turtle function, which already has code inside of it to print something out on screen, so we do not need to print it out on its own. And now you see we have the entire process executed here. We have the creation of an object up here, creation of an object, great. We have using an object to access something in the class, which is a function. And then over here somewhere, when we're at the end here with the return, we have destruction of an object, which is the object we created. And right here, we have the message from our constructor. We have the message from the function we accessed, and then we have the message from the deconstructor, which is notifying us that we have destroyed everything, we are done, and the program has ended. Hope you guys understood this. Like I said, constructors are one of the things that are pretty abstract and it's difficult to understand what their purpose is. So if you have any questions regarding that or deconstructors as well, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Honestly, if you have any questions at all, just leave them in any comment, then I'll find you and I'll answer it. Even if it's in the wrong video, no problem. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll have more videos coming in this series. Thanks.